There is a sixth dimension beyond that which is known to man. A multiverse as vast as eternity, as timeless as the Infinity Gems. It is the middle ground between the big two and the indie publishers, between sci-fi and mysticism, and it lies between the pages of the reader's imagination. At the summit of entertainment, the dimension of comics, where a humble service is held. We call this service the Gospel of Comics.
Not going to be muted this time, goddammit. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gospel of Comics. I am your host, the Church of Failure, and with me, as always, is my trusty co-host, Ayrton McCartney. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Got the rest of my audio equipment. Hopefully it's working okay right now. I'm excited.
Yeah, you're still a little bit robot-y, but we're going to bear with it. We're gonna see if we can tough through it. If not, I can just kick you from the call. So, you got that going for you?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, no, I can't do it. I can't do it, Ayrton. Sorry. Not this time. Not today, Satan. No, first off, I have two things that I have to get out. Number one. I want each and everyone that watches this, either live or on the replay, to go back to 2019, and if you've made the statement, man, it can't get much worse than this. I need you to apologize immediately. Okay?
You need to personally apologize to church?
I mean, I don't care who you apologize to, but you got to get right with Jesus on that bullshit. You were wrong. Secondly, I just want to say, not Naughty Dog. Goddamn, who is it that does Grand Theft Auto, the video game? Rockstar. Rockstar Games has really
you think
gone.
I know that?
Rockstar Games has really gone above and beyond with their marketing for Grand Theft Auto 6. I mean, they have pulled out all the stops. The graphics are so realistic. It's almost like we really have 40 some odd riots going on in the country simultaneously.
Yeah, it's really impressive what video games can look like these days. I'm going to get into it now.
Oh man, your roboting's kicking in just started. I really thought the sock would help. I went back to my professional wrestling.
I thought so too.
I went back to my professional wrestling days, and I'm like, a sock fixed everything. Anyway,
I mean, I can keep messing with some settings over on this end while we do stuff.
Why don't we switch to the headset for now?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll see if I.
Just give me one.
Yeah, Carl from Mary Boys is probably going to be joining us. I apologize, guys. Like I said that during the goof, I screwed us all, said Danielle. Let's see here. Let's see if I can get Carl on the show. Alright, so if you're listening, Carl, just jump in the waiting room on the Discord and the server. But I'll send you that in a message as well.
Alright, am I still roboting?
A little bit, but nowhere near as bad. Is just like good, so I'm okay with it. Yeah.
I swear to God, I had good connection up until we were about to go live.
Of course you did. Of course you, because Discord.
Ridiculous.
Good Discord. Well, I'll get StreamYard set up soon, and we can start using that a little more regularly.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll give us some opportunity to, have better connections and better streams. I don't know. Who the fuck knows? It's been too crazy. Chad and Danielle in the chat ask, "How have we been? How have you been during these trying times, sir?"
Oh, it's fucking weird.
Isn't it?
I can say that. Luckily, I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so I don't have to worry about like riots or shit. There's like 4 black people that live around here.
That's racist.
I'm just explaining the demographics. That's all.
So,
But
well,
yeah, it's definitely crazy.
here's my thoughts on it. Mr. Mediker put it best. We've had disease, famine, now we have civil unrest and whatnot. In my personal area, there's been like, I don't know, 18 straight days of nothing but downpouring rain. I started building an ark. That's why there wasn't a show. Too busy building an ark. Had nothing to do with the fact that Ayrton was entirely too drunk on Saturday and I was without power on Sunday. That is not the reason at all. I would have sent smoke signals to the OBS gods. But no, I was building an ark because it's been raining for fucking 10 months straight, it seems. And then it stops raining and people start protesting. I'm like, the fuck? Bullshit. I didn't want to stay home because of the fucking cough, but now I want to stay home because I don't want to get set on fire. Anyway, in that time...
Our guest has arrived.
Our guest has arrived. Let's get him in.
Hi.
How's it going, buddy?
I did.
How is it going?
Can you guys see me? I'm like, okay.
Oh no, you're in the Discord right
good.
You're in the Discord right now. We can pull your camera up if you want to, but you don't. We mostly do the audio thing here.
Okay, all right. Okay.
They can see your little icon
I've never
lighting
used
up on the
Discord
screen.
before for videos and stuff.
And take the stream start soon off, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
So, Mary Boys arrived in
Brothers,
spectacular fashion.
Yes.
Cool. I just want to check something. Did you got both comics, right?
We did.
Yes.
We just wanted to review them one at a time so that we could con you back onto the show at a later date.
Cool. Stretch it out.
That's right. Just milk it for what it's worth.
We want to get our money's worth.
No.
Did you guys enjoy it?
I did. I loved every bit of it.
It's so much.
If you'll remember, Mrs. Church making me compliment you live on air because she enjoyed your see it come in.
So, I'm really happy. I was a bit. That's the thing about. This is the first time I've ever posted anything to the United States. I've never done that before. So it was really. It was just like nerve-shattering shit. Is everybody going to get bloody comic books? Arrive in a reasonable state. And just all that stuff.
Especially with the
mine came perfect.
Yep, mine did as well. Go ahead.
I like the little "Do Not Bend" sticker image. That was
smart. like everybody reads that. Yeah, I think next time I think I'm just going to get. You guys use Gemini mailers and stuff like that, and I think a good reason for that. There's those wraparound boxes that you basically it's ballistic. It's so fucking tough. You couldn't do anything. I think I'll be investing in that for the next campaign.
Well, the U.S.
just for my own peace of mind.
Yeah, the United States Postal Service is notorious for fucking up packages. So having that sticker on there, that was a good move.
As if they read that shit.
There's
I know.
there's an old joke of two guys delivering packages and one looking at the other and going, "Hey Earl, what does fragile?" Fragile.
It's foreign.
That's
it's foreign
right.
for
It's Italian for don't fucking break it.
I feel like squeeze it. Let me squeeze it. Squeeze it. Fuck.
But no, they showed up in great condition.
I'm really happy.
The making
with
of
some guys, they said it was open.
Oh, go ahead.
I think it's a bit of a delay. Sorry, I'm not talking on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
No, I was just saying that on some guys, they said that it was the customs had opened the package, and it arrived and it had been opened. Everything was still there, and luckily still in your neck. But yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yeah, customs has to open stuff sometimes depending on where it's going. Sometimes it's just random selection, like they have to open one of every so many packages just as a quality control thing. But here the COVID-19 shut down a lot of packages because a lot of places terminals were letting things that were wrapped in cardboard sit for a week before they're touched, all that kind of stuff. So I mean, you kind of had a weird time of doing it, but the fact that they've been arriving, and I'm guessing you haven't had too many people call you and be like, "Hey, I never got my book, even though it's supposed to be here."
I've had some people who've been like waiting a few days, and then they start, "Where's my package?" I'm like, "Shit!"
Yeah.
It's just the worst possible time. Like just
yeah.
There's all sorts of reasons.
But no. I really enjoyed the first issue. I haven't read the second issue yet. Keeping up with the riots over here in the U.S. I'm sure you've seen and heard about that.
Yeah, the protesting here too. It's
okay.
retarded. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I just
it's
saw
like
that today. They went to London and some other city over in Europe. I don't remember.
Berlin, yeah, but in my hometown, they're protesting as well. But they protest all sorts of like they protest Donald Trump on a regular basis. I'm like, it's got fuck all to do with you.
Didn't you guys?
I mean, he could just press the red button and your country wouldn't exist anymore. So.
Didn't you guys basically get your own Donald Trump and Boris Johnson though? Like, why wouldn't they just protest him?
They do, but I don't think he's as charismatic.
Well,
I think it's like a double bill.
Boris Johnson was more like John McAfee, partying with strippers and taking drugs and shit.
Don't take this
Got a million
wrong.
Kids.
Don't take this the wrong way, but it's really hard for an Englishman to be as charismatic as an American. You guys actually have, class.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. That's a complete misconception by Americans. They go like, "Oh, the British sound cultured just as by default." You haven't.
Well, I mean,
you've.
I doubt very seriously you've ever been to the American South, so they really do have a steep measuring stick for culture. But
I think something foreign is always presumed to be more cultured. It's a facade. It's
okay. All right. You're faking it till you.
But it's never. That's it. That's how.
Let's just put it this way. At least in northern England, I know your average grandmother is 40 years old and does powerlifting as a hobby. So there's that.
Powerlifting the 10 kids.
Yeah.
Just don't use FedEx, says Chad Middleton. FedEx is worse than USPS, and in Canada. That's
really
okay.
Chat weighing in. Yeah, don't use FedEx to ship. I've actually heard better things about DHL than I have about FedEx.
I had things destroyed by DHL too. They're an equal opportunity destroyer. DHL. No, Royal Mail is supposed to be pretty good, but they have lost one thing so far of mine. So I'm for that.
We both got our books. I was asking Ayrton every day after I got mine. Did you get your book yet? And he finally got it. So, yeah, go ahead.
And after I got it, stupidly remembered that we got digital copies too. So we could have done this like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
It's not the same. You know what? I've already made the conclusion. People don't care about the digital stuff. I got absolutely no feedback on the digital copies. Except for.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say except for Captain Fuckhead, who did like a review of the digital copies, but he's a CG and all that stuff. So, but nobody else really cared because people don't read digital copies. Really, it's the second best sort of thing. People just went, "I'm not going to read."
I got it. When I got the digital from you, I was excited. but I was like, no, I want to wait to read this till I get the hard copy because I don't know, I just like reading the hard copies better. But I was excited when I got it.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's
don't
like
know if
it's like
that
a
means
fall.
anything
It's like
to
it's
you.
like a it's like a fallback. It's like a fallback, you know.
Right.
Because some people put their comics in plastic and file them away in a safety deposit box and leave the box somewhere under the house, sort of thing. And then they'll read the digital copies. Yes, I guess it serves a function.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Digital fulfillment. I didn't even realize we got these, to be completely honest. I had no idea. I
There's
knew
another,
I back.
there's another
like I
graphic
said.
novel.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say there's another graphic novel in there too.
Oh, Sparko, I
of
see that
everybody's
now.
pick.
I will have to read that now. But
Oh.
yeah, I didn't even know that I received this email because I was only thinking that I had backed the physical tier. I didn't think about the digital being included. Because that's not a really common thing. Like a lot of times, is you get the physical, or you can just get the digital copy.
Yeah. So I think most people's emails just went into their spam folder. Explains it.
Let me see where this one went. This one went into my promotions folder because it was from Indiegogo. I use Gmail, so it just went into the promotion tab, and I never opened that.
Right.
Like I go to Indiegogo specifically to see my updates because I don't want to have to dig through like 5 million promotional updates. Anyway,
It is difficult, especially with Gmail, where when everything gets cascaded, you don't know where the hell you are.
mm-hmm. Yeah, all 15 accounts
Just
that I have. But anyway, how does it feel to have fulfilled your first campaign?
It feels good. I just wonder when you actually draw the line and you say, okay, this is substantially done now, because a lot of people, and I really appreciate this, go onto social media and say, hey, receive my copy, here it is, and show it to everybody else. And I'm like, great. Oh, only another 350 odd people to do that before I think like, okay, that's it.
Well, not everybody's.
I'm sure there's going to be. No, that's it. So if things go missing, then that'll be another procedure. I'm just wondering how many will go missing, because statistically something will go missing.
I think
that when it does.
I think the numbers I saw last time on recommendation were anywhere between 5 and 10% set aside for missing and damaged packages. Not that high, but it's a safe margin to keep, and then you can just sell the extras. Because a lot of the damages you're going to weed out in fulfillment, right? Like you're not going to send somebody a destroyed copy from the manufacturer.
Oh no, of course not. Yeah, I've overprinted with quite a large margin comics. I'm holding and patches sorts of. So yeah, no.
You're breaking up just a little bit in there, and I think I might know why. In your Discord, go into your settings, and where it says voice activated, there's a little bar underneath that. And just move that bar all the way to the left to where it's all green every time you say anything. That way it'll stop clipping you.
That's it. Well, I'm under my account. Where I'm supposed to be?
Under your settings, just go down until it says app settings, voice and video.
Voice and video, okay. Right, and all the way to the left.
Yep.
Push. Is it push to talk?
No, voice activity. You want voice activity and then the bar all the way to the left.
Right.
And that should stop you from clipping, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Better.
You sound good.
Great. Okay, that's sorted.
All right, but no.
No. It's.
You said you overprinted by a large margin.
Yeah. Well, at the time that I was overprinting, I mean, by the time that we closed, we had about 200 odd backers, 257 or something to that effect.
Right.
But I printed 1,000 of each issue.
Oh, okay.
For two reasons, because obviously I want to keep it in print. I want to have people keep buying the comics, and secondly, I really wanted offset printing for this. It's just better than digital.
Right. Yeah,
It's gonna look better, and it does.
You're using a grayscale, which is like I think it's a 2-plate run. You run a hard black and a halftone gray, and if I'm correct, I'm not sure how many plates they set up on the press. I think it's a maximum of 6 they can do on those machines now.
I just think you get better line quality.
Yeah.
Just a better look at the end of the day.
But I used to run a big like offset newspaper print press.
All right.
So mine only had 3-plate like capabilities. You could do black, gray, and a cover, or a black and 2 colors, but you couldn't do 4-color process on the thing to save your soul.
It's like what I'd like to see is what I'd like to do is do like a at some point maybe like as like some sort of extra for Merry Boys, do something on newsprint, just let it be line art.
Yeah.
Have that be offset printing so that it takes away the sharpness of just the raw line art and it blurs it out. I've got this big box of all 2000 AD comics, and the first 700, I think the first 700 odd progs were all on this old newsprint. Looking at the stuff again now, I'm like, yeah, this actually looks really.
Oh no,
we love newsprint over here.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a lot cheaper to do, so you don't have to charge as much for the comic.
That's a glossy. I mean, glossy's got a place. I think for color, it's better to have it on glossy paper. It just is like it won't soak up all. For line art, perfect would be on newsprint. Otherwise, it's too sharp if you put it on glossy paper.
Yeah.
And your retinas out, it destroys the illusion.
Well, for me, I think it actually goes a little bit deeper. I like the idea of having like a premium option. Like if you do something that's as iconic as the Secret Wars was, and you remaster it in hard cardstock cover, glossy paper interiors with remastered printing and just top of the line collector's set, and you box it all together. I think that's something that you kind of have a place for that for. But for a first printing or something you're sending to the direct market to sit on a comic book shelf, just put it on newsprint for the first time and see if it catches on. Like Watchmen was on newsprint, and it looks better on the glossy collector's editions you get.
All my favorite comics were on newsprint originally, and that made me think. And it was drawn for that. It's really bright. What really gets me is like when you get these special reprints of classic Marvel comics, everything looks incredibly Irish. Very very bright colors, and it's crazy. The thing is, it's the same color scheme that they use in the same hues. If you put it on newsprint, it dims all that. It mellows it out, so it isn't as harsh as what you. So
you can probably hear my kids being completely rotten in the background. Hold on 1 second.
That's cool. I'll go get how it goes.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, they love to wait until I'm on the air and start running amok. It's usually bedtime by now, but with school being out because of COVID and all of that's gone to crap. Like there's no semblance of order in my house anymore. I have lost complete control. I'm just trying to.
And there's a riot.
Go ahead.
There's a riot in your street tonight, probably.
Yeah, There's a riot in my children's bedroom too, apparently. But at least that one's not funded by Antifa. I'll keep that to myself. People have enough. People have enough Black Pill riot streams. You can hang out on those. I didn't sign up for this.
We all know the stuff. Point.
But
Me throwing in my fight.
Without doing too much on spoiling, I do want to talk about issue 1 of Merry Boys and just how much of the old storytelling, and also how much I heard like the soundtrack of the streets in the background. Because that was my only other exposure to a lot of the English slang that I'm seeing in this book. Besides just random conversation with people from across the pond, the streets, and if one of the kids is asleep, sweetheart, the other two are little animals. But anyway,
see, I had Monty Python's Flying Circus playing in my head.
Yeah. But when I first started reading this, I got a flashback to issue 1 of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I don't say that just because of the parody of it, of the Mission of 4 or whatever with the sensei, but I mean it felt like it came from that time frame, and it felt like that kind of story, and I really, really, really just got into it from page 1. And so I definitely applaud you on that. I don't want to do too much to spoil it. Maybe when we do issue 2, by the time everybody gets their copies and has the chance to read it, or watches this show and sees that they have digital copies that they might not have seen, we'll do a spoiler review. But just to kind of go through the paces, there are a couple of spots that I really just laughed at. And the first one was the phone booth section.
When he's talking to, say who.
Yeah, and you first meet the leader of the group. It's just utterly fantastic, just the way he appears out of nowhere. The second spot that I
reminded me of like an old like Looney Tunes cartoon or something like that.
Right,
it was great.
The second spot I wanted to highlight was the 4-panel section of them explaining their mission and how they're drawn to their mission because they're always followed by the Virgin. The Holy Virgin.
That's what I was going to bring up too.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that 2 panels, or those 2 pages. Those were utterly just hilarious. Because
the old lady.
Yeah, the old lady.
The old lady after they help her cross the street rolling a joint. Mm-hmm. Or she's supposed to be rolling a cigarette. I'm not quite sure.
It's a joint. It's a joint.
Yeah. Okay.
And you see her again. Won't say how and what happens. That's
but no, it felt very punk rock, and like I said, the art style is so good. And I also want to take a minute to compliment you on the making of booklet, because it's not just a bunch of like blurbs on how you made the book, but it just kind of takes you through a process of several art styles you used and things that happened in the process of the book. It's a little bit different, and I like that a lot.
That was really cool.
Yeah. And it really shows you, because I often caught myself like critiquing a comic book and saying, this would have been cooler or more interesting if it was done in more of this style. You kind of went ahead and answered that question for me of, okay, well, this is what you got, and this is what you could have gotten. So, be grateful.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad it didn't go with that vector sort of Saturday morning cartoon style, because that was an option at some point.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, the amount
That
of
probably would have been fun, but wouldn't have had the same kind of groove to it.
Gravitas.
yeah,
Exactly. So that's you got heavy. It's just the tones you can have. For that would limit your scope for emotion. Something as Will Eisner showed. You could have the style that I've chosen. You could go in pretty much.
right.
That's what guided me.
Well, the style you chose feels almost like an homage to that classic, indie comic style, but with a lot more polish and love and time put into the shading and the dimensions and the consistency, for that matter. The lettering was really good. At no point did I have a hard time like reading it or following the story. Um, so hats off there. Obviously,
That's the important stuff to me. The actual storytelling, because a lot of the times, like you'll do everything and then you'll forget. It's like you have to reach the reader. You have to deliver the message. And when people tell me that the message was clear, read something and I had to read it again, that there was nothing that sucked. A lot of people saying there was nothing that sucked me out of the story. To me, that's already really good.
right. At no point did I have to
Yeah.
did I have to break my, what is it, suspense of disbelief? Did I have to pull myself out of it and go back saying, did I see that correctly? Now, the only time where I did go back was the Holy Virgin section. I went back to see if there were any little references to that on the previous pages. That was the only time I went back, but I was just like, that's because I know people like this that'll have that stuff there where you'll see it the second time, right? But
Yeah, I did get a second look to see Mary in blood. I will say that, but after I saw the second I looked back like, oh, okay, I see the outline now.
you're roboting.
Almost
No,
like
that's what-
seeing her in some
really
toads or
roughly.
something. Yeah,
Good choppy.
fucking hell.
What did you guys think of the format? Because I went with like a UK magazine format.
Right.
So it's a bit bigger than your comics.
Now, that is a point of, slight critique in that, and I'm sure you may not even know this, but American Standard comic book boxes, you have to put them sideways because they don't fit like in the standard comic book boxes. They're too big.
Uh-huh.
But
I thought that would be a thing for long boxes.
I don't personally store my Comicsgate books in long boxes, so I don't have a problem with it. But that might be something that people are a little concerned about. Is how do I store these? Because unless you have a lot of books, you're not going to put them on a bookshelf because you don't have anything to hold them up unless you're just leaving them in a pile. And I like to think that people that love this medium don't do that because I would be sad.
Yeah.
You can get magazine-sized boxes.
I mean,
and
my comics.
Go ahead.
Mine are all on a bookshelf, so it actually worked out well for me. But
And
I will say the format made it for me more immersive for the artwork.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it's hard to pick up some of the smaller detail in like the American size, but having this bigger like magazine size, it was so nice to be able to see the artwork like more in your face, and I really enjoyed it that way.
And
cool. Okay, well that's good.
And I have a magazine box because I have a lot of the old like heavy metal and Marvel graphic novel and the Shadow and Mad magazines from like the 70s and 80s and whatnot. So I've got a magazine box for all that old stuff.
Cool. Okay, well they're a good company then. Yeah. No, that's good.
But yeah, you can
it
get
was
boxes.
just
You can get boxes for them. That's the only critique of it that I have is that it's going to be hard for people that store everything in a long box. they're gonna have to sit them sideways in that long box next to some comics. But other than that, like Ayrton said, it makes the artwork more accessible. It makes them easier to read. Um, so, I mean, not a bad thing. It's just different, and I like different. Different stands out.
It's the thing with some European comics. I mean, I don't know if you've ever read Black Sad, that anthropomorphic detective comic.
I
It's
have.
European, but it's published by Dark Horse.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just that's also like the bigger size, and it's kind of I think it's I think it's just that was just down to the author who just really wanted that, just liked that format and just to.
Well, yeah. And what was the process like going for that? Like, did you have to go to a special printer, or is that a size that's offered at a couple of places where you price the book out?
Oh no, it is the path of least resistance. That's the same size as our printer paper,
Okay.
actually.
Okay. So
Yeah, so no, it was dead easy like that. Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Now, do you have anything that you learned in this experience that you would offer to anyone starting out in their campaigns?
Oh yeah, there's so many things, that things I would be totally different this time around. It's just with posting and stuff. I didn't take into account weight. I'm kind of just shot from the hip. I thought, okay, I'm going to do an art book. Luckily everything's still into that bust bracket.
Right.
I shouldn't have done. I should have gotten the electronic scales. Just taken and just made better calculations. It's just made absolutely sure that they would. Packing, just making sure everything is. Just get all the materials before to better costing on that stuff.
Okay.
Packaging is more expensive than I thought it would be.
All right.
With printing itself, luckily everything turned out quite well because I used Mixim. They were pretty good. Support their templates are very easy to understand. They send you these reams of paper that show all the different kinds of stock with different kinds of finishes. You get a really good idea of what the index is going to look like. So what I did was I picked a comic that I liked. I tried to replicate the stock, the finish as closely as I could. And that's bundle that they sent me, a bundle of pages. So that was dead easy.
Okay.
The other things was like how to promote it. Luckily, I worked for a comic book publisher before, and I had a good grasp of lettering and getting stuff out and all that. So sending things, all the specs. So that wasn't a few other things. Motion with the black hole for me.
You're breaking up a little bit. We're getting like every other word or so. I thought that the push or the voice activated thing would fix it. I'm not sure what's going on.
Let me have a look at that again. I don't know.
Discord's just awful tonight.
Yeah, Discord's being terrible, but it's probably because there's 900 Riot streams going on.
Probably. Probably. No, I was just saying that big thing for me was the promotion aspect, which I knew absolutely nothing about. And it is literally built like the stuff that John Mayling carries on about building your own channel, your own network. When I started, I just wasn't with any network at all. I was lucky enough for people to invite me onto their shows and talk about my project. But since then, I've gotten in touch with a whole bunch of other creators in the UK, and we've started formatting our own shows, onto regular streams, and that's gone a lot better now. So
Right.
we're getting a lot of traction. It's very, very, very important. Apart from that, so that's the big thing for me. Next, I would say it's how you structure your perks and things like that. Things I'll do differently. I won't print 2 comics next time. It'll just be 1 collection. Just yeah, a lot less bother. It's just stylistically, I just wanted 2 comics in this case.
Well, how are
It
you?
was, it was kind of nice receiving the 2, right?
It was.
It was kind of like, oh yeah, this is coming in 2 books. This is kind of cool.
Now let
From
me
that
ask,
whole sitting on your shelf collector sort of idea.
how
Yeah, do
how
you know how it happened? I just drew 2. Sorry, talking over.
well, how would you change the format to? You said like a collection. How many issues? What are you planning on trying to do for the next one? If we can.
Well, for the next one, it's just going to be a collection of short stories, like 5 and 10 pages each. And have that maybe 48, 50, 60 pages, something like that. That will be the next one.
Okay.
It won't be like one continuous sort of tome. It will be little snippets, like a spirit comic, basically.
Yeah.
Lots of little stories.
Now,
I
was actually looking at my. I've got a Batman, I don't know, newspaper shorts from 1940 to 1946, 1943 to 1946, or something like that. And it's just a little hardbound collection. And I was looking at that earlier, and I'm like, I miss these. So, you don't get that unless you buy a webcomic collection a lot nowadays. A lot of people just don't do shorts anymore. So that'll be nice.
Yeah, that's it. I think changes the storytelling. Really, it's almost like having an album full of. It's almost like having an album full of short, punchy songs. Changes the way you tell the story. They could contribute to a narrative. It will conclude at some point, and you'll have an arc.
Right.
Or they may not. They may just be freestanding little snippets. So you can focus on what interests you at the time. Everything you want to say about a certain aspect, without trying to build it into a longer narrative.
Right.
You can pick and choose, and I like that sort of freedom. It's something I wanted to do. I knew that before I could do that, I would have to do some origin story. So I was kind of building up to be able to do.
Well,
kind of like the Ramones versus a Pink Floyd album.
Yeah, well,
Exactly.
I always looked at collection of shorts as a montage. It's almost like something that can give you the overall feel for a character without you having to invest a lot in one singular story that might not tell you a whole lot about that character. Because those shorts, they are able to deliver a message in a much more compact way, and it always leaves you feeling something about what you just saw, whether you like it or not. A lot of times Peanuts comics didn't necessarily leave you feeling good because you felt bad for Charlie Brown a lot of the time. I mean, it was funny, but you had that little bit of sympathy for Charlie Brown, and you can express more of a
kind of a dude.
Yeah, you can express more about a character in 40 to 50 pages worth of shorts than you can in a 200-page story sometimes.
Because your brain fills in the gaps between those stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gives you a little look, and then you assume what happened. Or this is something that's carrying on in the background. You can make jumps in time and place.
Right.
It might not necessarily work in the context of law.
Yeah.
So, what's one thing you might change about the way you set up this campaign with hindsight? You talked about shipping. You talked about the way you put the project together. But what's one thing that you would for definite do differently if you were doing this campaign again tomorrow?
The covers, definitely.
Really?
I think that had a big sort of. I think it grabs people. It could even be like a subconscious thing when somebody sees something that's black and black on the cover, then they go, okay. You just gloss over it, because a lot of the time you'll see information about a campaign, you'll see a small thumbnail. You can't really see all the detail. The first it'll go through your mind, is in color or not, and if it's in color, people will unconsciously just gloss over it. Just register, okay, this obviously isn't a project. I think for the next ones, I really wanted to try more paint anyway. I'm gonna have color cover. Possibly, I'm gonna have want to do alternate covers. Seen that's also a thing. I've never thought of doing that before.
Okay.
Just have it at a certain stretch goal to say, okay, we're going to do alternate cover for them, and it'll give me opportunity. Whereas before I would have split it into 2 issues. I can just do the same issue with 2 different covers. I think that'd be
Right.
interesting.
Right.
And also in the interior, I'd like to mix it up. Maybe I'd like to do like a story that is going to be line art. The story is going to be in wash, like I've been doing. One I can do a fully painted sort of 2000 AD style story, not too long, or I'll never finish drawing it. But
Right.
it would be nice to do like a fully painted sort of interior story, like for the right story, for a story that kind of those kind of features. So it gives you all the stuff that you couldn't do was one continuous story. So
Right.
you can play around with different styles in the same book.
I see that.
Collection.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like I said, if they're the same quality as we got in this book, I don't think you'll have any problems continuing to grow. We look forward to looking at book 2 next time, and like I said, I'm splitting it up so that we can try and get you on again because you're fun to have on. But but no, I really enjoy. Go ahead.
I was going to say anything.
No, Eric.
So one point. So this actually popped into my head yesterday, and me and Church talked about this a little bit privately last night. And the timing of when your book showed up, at least for me, was kind of impeccable, and it brought me back and made me start to think of like, what's the point of comic books and fantasy and stuff in general? And it's escapism. And it was just with all the craziness going on, in the world today, it was nice to be able to sit down, unplug for like the 20 minutes or whatever it took me to read this, and just not think about, everything else going on. I got to just sit down and just read this like ridiculous story that was entertaining, with fantastic art, and and I think more people need to realize that in the mainstream when it comes to storytelling. Don't be putting all these, political, social narratives in. That's not the point of comic books or fantasy as a whole. It's to escape, and I want to commend you for how well you did that. And I thought it was brilliantly done, and it was probably the best like just short 20 minutes I've had in the past few weeks, and it was fantastic.
Wow. Okay, that's a big.
He's not wrong.
The media we're competing.
It's been rough over here, man. Like we need these books to keep coming in. People are going crazy over here.
Yeah,
you've seen it. Like we're losing our shit, and it's nice that we still have our, because as comic book fans we don't get that anymore over here. I'm sure you don't over there either, but we don't get that anymore over here. It's just Snowflake, Save Space, Suicide Squad, Captain Marvel, Harley Quinn, Orange Man bad, White Man bad. Nobody's just kicking the crap out of drug dealers and pedophiles anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the kind of thing. Now, if this is unpublishable in the current set of affairs, because everybody will want to go like, yeah, but the pedophile thing. Who will think of the pedophile? You know what I mean? Or who will think of, he's and the drug dealer's probably got a hard family life, and that's not you know what I mean? It's like, no.
Yeah.
Most people think, yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, chase the pedophiles up a tree.
That's right. I kind of want to go do that right now, but it's illegal.
Yeah, I'm not concerned with what a pedophile's upbringing was and whether it was hard or not. Just go ahead and chase him up a tree
with a cricket bat.
Beat the crap out of him when he came up. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it just appeals to my sensibilities. I think there are a lot of people who feel like I do, and they've been deprived of entertainment for a long time that I'm hoping they'll just latch onto stuff that I'm doing. But yeah, I'm glad you're doing this stuff. I used to have a lot of this stuff in the 90s and 80s.
Right. Some of
I've had a
our
lot of people say that.
some of our favorite books to review on this channel have been the adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters.
Dynamite, yeah.
Oh no, parody press from Mr. Don Chin, sir. Don't get it
Sorry.
twisted.
The old stuff.
The Dynamite stuff was okay, but the
Church will
old stuff,
come chase you up a tree.
the old stuff was key. Well, Don Chin's been a very good friend of the show, and it was his original
Yeah.
stuff that we looked over. But the Dynamite stuff was okay. But I hear in the grapevine that there might be a new project with a certain frog and some rodents in the works. So I look forward to that. That will involve Dynamite in some capacity, I believe.
I heard something like that too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I definitely have no idea about any of that chat whatsoever. It's rumors.
Yeah,
rumors
no
in the
one's
grapevine.
told us anything about that yet.
Hint, hint,
See?
wink, wink.
Future's bright, I think. I think the future. I'm just optimistic about the state of the indie community is doing absolutely fine. You know, and that's all that matters to me.
I think
haven't
so.
read mainstream. When I read mainstream stuff,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that, like, you know, I've been going backward, comic book reading. I buy old comics and I read those. I haven't bought anything current in
Yeah.
how long.
We only review current comics when we want to torture one another on the show.
Yeah, basically.
Most everything we read is either indie or old Marvel and DC. Like, I think the most current, like the most recent thing we reviewed in the past 6 months is Age of Apocalypse. So,
Well, no, we went through House and Powers of X after it all came out.
yeah, but I kind of did that expecting to
That
be
was in the
disappointed.
last 6 months, wasn't it?
Even though that was Jonathan Hickman, I still
Well.
did it to be. No, that was at the end of 2019, wasn't it?
We're in. Oh, that's right. We are in June. Fuck. Okay, never mind. Or almost in June.
So, anyway,
Ignore me.
No, the
I'm in
indie
June. You guys are in May.
That's right.
Yeah, for an hour.
The current state of indie comics is doing really well. There's some hiccups in the community right now, but hopefully they'll settle down here soon, and everybody will let cooler heads prevail. Because we don't need the kind of infighting that we're having now. I understand it on both sides. I don't agree with it in a lot of senses for a lot of reasons, but I don't disavow anybody involved. But it's really rough right now in that part of the community, and I just hope that settles down. That's about as much as I'm going to talk on it right now as far as that goes, because I'm here for comic books, people.
That's it. Not everything around it. Yeah, that's my whole thinking. This is about comics. It's not about everything, the other stuff. Because in 10 years' time, when people think about CG, they're going to remember all the spats and the tiffs. They're going to remember the comic books. That's what people are going to remember. Because I mean, nobody's going to journalize spats. They're gonna have but they are going to have an archive of all the comics.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the numbers at the end of the day are what's going to matter. The number of comics sold, the number of titles put out, the number of times you screwed over your backers. I mean, the facts are going to come out. None of the opinions, none of the feelings. So, But yeah, man, I really want to thank you a lot for coming on to talk about this with us. We're probably going to wrap it up and let the Riot streams do what they do. But no, we really enjoyed the first issue of Merry Boys. It's still in demand on your Indiegogo, is it not?
It is because I've still got a lot of comics to sell. My wife wants all the comics out of the house, so I got to sell.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. So let me get
go.
the link to that and put it in the chat before we sign off. I'll also put it in the description and throw it out on Twitter. But Indiegogo.com/projects something Merry Boys. Let me just get that pulled up here.
Yeah,
Sure.
and I'll say, anybody listening right now that hasn't backed it yet, I know a few of you in our chat have. Definitely do it. It's totally worth it. Great, entertaining story. Nice British sense of humor, and it's
and there's no
definitely
reason
needed in these times.
It shouldn't have 68 more backers and be at least 500.
Exactly.
500 sold. There's the link in the chat. I will also put it in the description of this video. Carl, thank you very much for coming on with us. Do you have anything you'd like to add before we get out of here, sir?
I'd just like to say thanks very much, guys. I think you were right. You were there right in the beginning. I was just trying to this thing, and you've been a mainstay for me. So I thank you very much.
We're here for the creators, man. We love you guys. You guys give us content for the show. You give us a reason to come on here and geek out about comics once a week when we're not building arcs or
Exactly.
watching the marketing for Grand Theft Auto 6, of course. But, but anyway, thank you so much, sir. And again, we will be here at the very beginning of your next campaign and for issue 2 and everything in the future. Thank you very much again. Have a good one, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Ayrton, can you get us out of here?
Good night, everybody.
Thank you to everybody in the chat: Chad Middleton, Novel Bro, Mrs. Church, Danielle, and Carl from Merry Boys. And yes, let's get the fuck out of here. Thank you guys, and we will see you maybe tomorrow, but definitely Wednesday. I think we're gonna do something special. So
that's right.
So yeah, we will see you all then. Have a good one.